All right. As you come on in, hit the like button. Let people know that we are about to go live here in a minute. All right. All right. Sound going good. All right. Kevin Brown, what's up? He said he riding with FSU to the wheels fall off because I know they ain't. Even if they fall off, we're going to put them back on and keep riding, Kevin. That's what we're doing. All right. But today I want to do something a little different. And I mainly just want to talk about the impact of what we've seen so far this season on the recruitment, our targets, man. What about some of the guys we got recruited, committed already? Is there a possibility of some decommits? All that good stuff. I want to dive into that, and then also we want to take a look at some. There's some interesting moves made on the depth chart. I don't think there's anything too crucial, but I think there are some things to look at, dissect a little bit. So that's what we're gonna do today. Today just gonna be basically basically just like what's the impact going on for this team in the next few weeks, recruiting wise, player personnel wise, all that good stuff. So we're gonna dive into that in a minute. I'm gonna let the chat fill up a little bit more, see if anybody else show up. If not, we're gonna get started. We got Rose in the building. What's going on, big dog? Skyline Kid, what's up? Kevin Brown says recruiting looking good right now. The question's gonna be the question for recruiting, man, is gonna be mainly with these targets, man. My takes on some of these targets, I don't know. They're gonna have a hard time, I think, convincing some of these kids, especially some of these higher rated kids that they're trying to go after. But we'll dive into that. Florida State Love in the building. Bub in the building. What's up? Tyler's in the building. What's up? About to get started here. Kenny in the building. What's up? What's up? Not going to wait too much longer. I think we'll get started at the 5-minute mark. Kenny said, man, we better get a few wins soon, Pope, for these recruits. Yeah, we're going to get into that one for sure. That's why I'm worrying about. But if they're going to play Florida State, going to play Florida State no matter what. And to some degree, you're right. Like, I've always said that. Like, if you really wanted to be a Seminole, you would be one. But these kids are bred a little differently nowadays, Kevin. I think they kind of go about recruiting. Quite honestly, I think they do it in a more intelligent fashion, but maybe a least competitive way. So, and then Tyler saying we will improve. We can't get much worse. There is some truth to that for sure. $30 and then we'll dive in. Figure why not do a live on Tuesdays like I used to? And we'll get this thing started. All right, let's go. Let's do the thing. Let's get it cracking. All right, recruiting. Top targets is what I want to get into. As we all know, I already talked about our most recent recruit, Mr. Rod Orr, the Titan. What I really want to dig into today. I want to start off with who we got on the roster. So give me a second. Not on the roster per se, but who we have committed. Right? So hold on. I'm going to bring this up. And I want to talk about who we got committed. And who's a potential flip? I think that's a big that's one of the big things I've been getting from a lot of the FSU fans is they want to know, like, there's a lot of rumor. Let's just dive right into it, right? There's a lot of rumors on Luke. With the way Mike Leach put up all them yards and those points up on LSU, defending national champions, even though we know LSU had a lot of players opt out. While I won't say LSU's going through a rebuild, they definitely, with all the opt-outs, right? They got to find guys. They're playing guys who probably weren't ready or weren't supposed to play right now. And Mike Leach surprised me. I thought he'd come into the SEC and struggle, and he came out the gates firing. So now there's a bunch of smoke around Luke Altmyer, potential decommit to Starksville. He's from Starksville, so there's smoke. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I think to some capacity, man, where there's smoke, there may be a little bit of fire or at least an ember starting to burn. I don't think Luke's going to decommit right now, but FSU's they got to show that they can utilize these quarterbacks. Now, here's the one plus to me for Luke Altmyer. He has to look at that quarterback room, Luke does, and say, man, I know I can go in and play day one. He's got to look at that QB room, and I know he's like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to play day one. The thing about Mississippi State is I don't know their quarterback situation. No, they got the Stanford transfer is the starter now, but obviously he's a senior. He's probably going to try to go to the NFL after this year. After that, I don't know their quarterback situation, and it's a good chance that maybe they can convince him some stuff. Now, what I do want to look at real quick, let me go back. What I would like to look at real quick is Mississippi State, since we're talking Luke Altmyer in Mississippi. Do they have any quarterback commits right now? They're ranked 32, and they do. They got this guy right here, Sawyer Robertson. It looks like he's actually rated higher than Luke Altmyer. So that's some good news, Florida State fans, just off the rip right there. They seem to have their guy. So if that's the case, maybe Luke Altmyer doesn't give Mississippi State too much of a serious look. It's still something maybe to watch out for, man. Luke Altmyer, really I won't say he's not our highest rated guy, but really probably our most needed recruit, man. Because he's going to come in there, he's going to compete day one. He's going to compete with Purdy. And they got to do whatever they can do to really hold on to Luke. And I really believe that. Now we go back to Florida State. Whoops. Who else on the commits has a chance to flip or decommit? Honestly, I don't know if I see too many. Right? I already talked about Luke. There's a little bit of smoke around Luke. We'll hold off on that. I think Luke's pretty firm and solid as of right now, but I think that they gotta show that man something. Honestly, the next guy that I would maybe be the most concerned about is Chemo. And the only reason I say that is because recently, I want to say about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, Chemo met with Ed Orgeron at LSU, and he said that was the best experience of his life. So what does that mean? I don't know what that means. He's obviously pretty high on LSU. So, just be careful there. When a kid starts talking like that about another school, he obviously has some serious interest in LSU. And of course, every time Florida State offers a kid that nobody else was looking at, this is what tends to happen. You get everybody coming out the woodworks trying to get these kids. But other than that, man, as I look over the commit list, I think everybody else probably remains pretty solid, man. Yeah. Rod Orr just committed, hopefully he didn't look at that and regretted his decision, but I don't think that's the case. I think he had to know going in that FSU's in a rebuild stage. And I think Brandon Jennings is probably as solid as it's going to get, with Dad being a former player here and the things that he has said in interviews. So that's really it for our commit list. Now, the real question is going to be, what about these targets? And that's where we really want to get into here and dive into, is these targets. Before I jump into targets, who FSU is really looking at, hold on. Let's look at the comments. See what people are talking about in the comments. If Chris coming in here, man, hit the like button. Jason Arnold, what's going on? He said, what's up, Hope? Love the channel. Your knowledge and research is FSU football. Appreciate that. Hurricane Speed, what's going on? What's going on, Pope? You should win this. Yeah, this game ain't really about Jacksonville State. I'm not worried about Jacksonville State. This is more about the impact going forward on the entirety of the program and recruiting. I personally think Chemo had a better tape than Orr. I actually agree with that, Tyler. I agree with that. Orr is as high as a prospect as he is because of that size and that length and that frame that Orr has is top level. His size, his frame is elite. It's 5-star level. The dude's 6'7", 296, extremely long arms. And when you look at his body, he's not sloppy, which tells me he can add another 20 pounds and still be solid. You're talking about a guy who probably at his playing weight is going to be 315, 320 playing left tackle. That's why Orr, I believe his ranking is as high as it is. But I agree. I think Chemo has the better tape. Orr is a highly what am I trying to say? Orr is a prospect with a high potential. Everyone close to the program says Altmaier sticks. Yeah, I think Altmaier sticks. I think teams are gonna go for him. I think teams are gonna throw their best at Altmaier. And FSU's quarterback position is looking like the worst. It's not looking. It is the worst in the country. What we're getting out of the quarterback position these first two games is I've never seen anything like it. And there we go. So, caught up on the comments. Let's get into these prospects that I want to go over. So, we're going to skip down. Where is this? Isn't what I'm looking for. My bad. I'm looking for this. This is what I'm looking for. So, these are the top guys on FSU's board. So, we're just going to go down the list and talk about what our chances are at some of these guys. And, of course, we'll start with the biggest fish in the pond, or should we say the biggest whale in the ocean. Marius Mims, offensive tackle, 6'7", 315. Look at that, the sixth player nationally. I mean, look at this, man. That's an elite recruit. And FSU is in his top 5. FSU is right there with all of these teams. They're projecting Georgia, which I think would be a smart projection at this point. But to really dig in on Sims, I'll be honest, the best thing you can do for Sims, if you're Atkins, if you're Norvell, is you really just got to sell this kid playing time. You got to tell this kid, look, we don't look good right now, but with you, you're going to completely come in and you are going to literally be the big man on campus. You are going to change the face of this program going forward. You're going to be the anchor of the offensive line. You're going to be a top draft pick regardless. That's the stuff you got to sell him on, because right now the on-the-field product doesn't look good. But obviously you can look at that left tackle spot. And though I think Darius Washington is solid, I've said it before, I think Darius is more of a guard who are playing at tackle at a necessity. And while Love Taylor has been pretty good this year, he's gone. Mims comes in there day one. He's the starter at left tackle or right tackle. And we'll see how Robert Scott develops through the season. And then you still got Rod Orr. Like, he really makes that offensive line class if we can land the Mims. I think it's a long shot at this point. At one point, I never even thought we were in the running. He surprised me when he put Florida State in the top 5. He surprised me. That's a testament to Alex Atkins. If you look at the teams we're going up against, Bama puts linemen in the league every year. Georgia, linemen in the league every year. Even Tennessee recruits offensive linemen extremely well. I mean, we are the fact that we're in this bunch of teams right here with this team, with all these schools' histories of offensive linemen in the league, is a testament to Atkins and Dillingham. As you can see, those are his two primary recruiters. We'll see. We will see what we can do there. We got to improve. We got to improve that. Next, we got Taiwan Malone. Now, this is an interesting recruitment because he's been fairly quiet. And if you look at his top, A&M, Rutgers, Ole Miss, Ohio State, and Florida State. But nobody's really trending for this kid. There's no crystal ball predictions. Number 5 defensive tackle in the country, 55 nationally. Quite frankly, there's been a lot of talk on Odell. Is he losing his touch? Some of the talk is kind of justified if you look at the way the tackle position is playing in these games and the fact that we don't have one defensive tackle committed this year. We only had one committed last year who ended up going the JUCO route, so he's not even on the team. Odell makes a statement if he can land this. This is going to be a recruitment to watch going forward. I don't have much on him, but just the fact that we're even in the mix for him, again, that's a testament to Odell Haggins. We'll see if Odell Haggins can snatch this guy out of New Jersey. I think if looking at this list, man, your toughest comp. This kid's a northeast type kid. These kids usually go to like Ohio State. Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss. I don't want to count Rutgers out because that's the home team, but I don't think he's going to Rutgers. Big-time deep tackles don't usually miss out on the SEC. But Ole Miss is probably the team that you're going to compete with most over him. That's just that team up north. That's the team up north that gets all the good kids. So Taiwan Malone, we will definitely be watching his recruitment going forward. Brandon Jenner. Well, obviously we already got Brandon. Here's the one, man. I hate to say this. Formerly known as Dustin Payson. I don't know what was going on if he changed his last name. I don't know, but this is Dustin Payson out of Louisiana, now known as Dustin Hill. This guy's been training for Florida State for the entire summer. And to me, the fact that he hasn't pulled the trigger is worrisome. Now, somebody in the chat, maybe y'all can tell me that I shouldn't be worried about this one. But to me, this one is extremely worrisome because we've been training for this kid for 3-4 months now. We're going into October. I believe he's been crystal balled since probably May. He hasn't pulled the trigger. And quite frankly, our receiving, we haven't been able to get receivers the ball in 2 games. You're trying to tell me this top-notch receiver, 111 nationally, 19th overall receiver, 5th in the state of Louisiana, 95 overall ranking, composite, 4-star, blue chip, top wide receiver is looking at Florida State right now and saying, oh, these guys are going to be able to get me the ball. It's tough, man. That is a tough one. I know we're still, as of right now, man, we're still trending, but I think this is one where if FSU does not improve the on-field stuff, if we don't show that we can get some of these kids the ball, whether that's these young guys, and we'll get into the depth chart later on in the episode, but if we don't show that we can do something, I don't know if we can pull out Dustin Hill, man. This is going to be a tough one in my opinion. You look at Florida and what they're doing on offense. I mean, Alabama, this is going to be a tough one to convince this kid. Oklahoma right here, you know they're going to pass the ball a million times and this kid's going to get yards and that type of system. If we don't show that we got a quarterback and that we got some competent receiver play and competent receiver coaching, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this, and I hate to say it because at one point I thought he was a lock and I really want him, but man, we have to improve on the field to land this one. You see David Johnson, who really could recruits all the Louisiana kids, and Dillingham's in the running for him. Interesting to see that Ron Dugans isn't really a main recruiter for him. So I don't know what's going on with that. This man, watch this one. I'm going to be sick if we lose out on him because he was all but assured in the class at one point. And I have no insight. Everything you're hearing from me is my own personal takes. I got no insight. I don't have any connections. I just got a feeling he's losing confidence in Florida State because he has yet to pull the trigger, though he's been trending for the last half a year pretty much. We'll hit the chat up real quick, see if anybody's been saying anything. Again, man, 16 people in here. Solid little turnout for a Tuesday night. Hit that like button. I'm gonna go down the chat. Skyline says Alabama's looking at him too. I think he's talking about Altmaier. Todd told me to scroll up a bit. My bad. To get Mims, we need to drop bags. Plain and simple. The good news is we can pretty much do that legally now. Right. I don't know, man. Sims is going to be a tough take. You need to sell Tyrone Malone, our baseball program. Kid can play. He has a good swing. Okay, see, I didn't even know he was a dual sport guy. So that is something to look forward to. Good insight from Tyler right there on Tyrone Malone. But we just talked about Payson or Hill. Again, I'm souring, not on him. I think the kid's electric. I think he's dynamic. I think we need him. We want him. I'm just souring on Florida State actually pulling this one off. Let's go to the next one, and Terrion Arnold. Here's another one, man. Got negative news for this one, too. Terrion, man, I think he's going to as you see right here, they got Florida as the lead. He's going to Florida or Bama. And I would tend to lead towards Bama because Florida already has Collier, even though that doesn't necessarily matter. He's a Tallahassee native. You see all this information right here. Hold on, let me move this. Okay, here we go. But at one point, man, I'm really disappointed, to be quite honest with you guys, on the way FSU filled out that safety room. There was one point we were favored for Collier, Arnold, Amari Harvey. And it's looked like, to me, I don't think we're going to end up with any of those top guys. I don't think Terrion Arnold's coming to FSU. Terrion Arnold is on the record saying he likes Florida State, but he wanted to see if they could generate a pass rush to help out his position group. And quite frankly, we all know after the first two games, we couldn't generate a pass rush on a high school football team at this point. So it's probably trending pretty negative for Terrion Arnold. I mean, we'll see if they can fix anything, and maybe interesting to see Charles Kelly is recruiting him. Look at that. We got Fuller and Marcus Woodson. And I got to be honest with you, Fuller's getting a lot of heat, and deservedly so, because Fuller may be in over his head at Florida State. But Terrion Arnold, man, I'm not really thinking we're going to pull this one off. I don't think there's good news on the Terrion Arnold camp either. Sean Bray's one I think is going to stick. I think we're going to eventually get Sean Bray. Jackson, hold on. I don't know why I can't click on him. There we go. 6'2", 230, kind of on the small side but I would assume he has a frame. I haven't watched his tape. Waiting for him to commit before I watch his tape. But I'm thinking, there's you see his numbers right there. He's crystal ball. And I'm thinking we're going to get this one. Odell's the main recruiter there. Odell recruits that Orlando area fairly well. I think Steven Dix is from Orlando. We recruit the Orlando area good. I think we'll get Sean Bray right here. I think Sean Bray's looking at that pass rush situation and saying he can come in day one and fix that, hopefully. He'll add to a pretty solid group of pass rushers, a strong side defensive ends that we already have on committed. So I think we're still in the good running for Mr. Chambray Jackson. So hopefully that continues to trend. Now we get into some of these running backs. Here you see Jaleel White. So the two running backs FSU is really targeting, right? It's Jaleel White and Contravion Hargrove. Hargrove's my favorite of the two. Jaleel's rated higher, rated as the better prospect. And I'd be happy with either one, honestly. If I'm a running back, I'm looking at what Toafili did. And his time, Toafili was doing this thing. I think the running back position is just a matter of getting the right guys in there. Toafili showed that he had some burst, he had some vision, he had some wiggle. I think we have a better shot at Hargrove. Here, we'll go ahead and go to Hargrove right now because these two guys are almost one and the same, almost the exact same size and builds. I think Hargrove might be a little bit more explosive personally. I think Penn State's the big one to watch in the Hargrove competition with Jaleel. I think I'm hearing Bama in that one. Not too sure, but those are the two running backs that we're going after. Now we're going to get into some of these. So those are pretty much the top-rated guys that we're really going after. You got Raekwon Buckley, Michigan. They got him as a strong side defensive end. Truth is, he's more of an athlete. He plays both. They're projecting him more as a tackle. They're Cristobal to Nebraska. I tend to agree with that, but, he's not that big of a this is a guy to really go after if you fail at Mims. Raekwon Buckley, Rod Orr, Miko, Estes, very, very solid offensive line class. I think you keep him on the back burner. At this point, maybe you actually make him a priority if you don't think you really have that big of a shot at Mims. That's up to that recruiting or, that staff to figure out what they're going to do there. River Helms is a tight end. Alabama's pushing hard for him. We were the first one to even offer this guy. I think Alabama wants him. Look, Georgia wants him. And that's really it as far as the top prospects. You got some other guys here, as you see. Haven't heard much on Thornton. FSU's apparently in the mix, but Lee Hunter is a name that consistently comes up. He's committed to Auburn, but apparently him and Odell are extremely close. And with Woodson coming from Auburn, he can bring some ties in there. But again, until our defensive tackles play better, some of these guys I really believe are pipe dreams at this point. J.J. Henry, though, this is a big name that is coming up and popping up a lot lately. Little dynamic, little wide receiver out of Texas. I don't know if he's a backup plan in case we miss out on Hill, a.k.a. Payson. This is a guy to watch. A lot of people think we're going to get him from Baylor, actually. And this is one to watch. He might be a contingency plan in case Payson decides to go elsewhere. And then finally, the last guy I kind of want to cover. Well, I'll cover two more guys. That's Kamari Lassiter. I think this is a guy that they're going to go after as a fill-in for Terrion Arnold. I think Terrion Arnold is all but out. And I think they're going to start ratcheting up the recruitment on Lassiter. Seeing as how we've missed out on every big-time safety we were looking at, this is one of those hybrid guys. Also look out for, even though he's committed to Ole Miss, Dink Jackson, there's rumors that FSU is going to start picking up the pace back on Dink Jackson. I don't know how that was going to play out as you pretty much gave up on him. And now you're going to try to come back. Good luck trying to mend that relationship. This guy recently just decommitted from Louisville. So he was committed to Louisville, decommitted, but I think he's an Ohio State get right here. I don't think I know FSU recently offered him. As you see right here, it's Ohio State, and I agree with it. I think he's trending towards Ohio State. After Ohio State gave him that offer, he pretty much decommitted. But there's a lot of people have been talking about this one right here because FSU has recently offered him as well, but I think that's the Ohio State one. And then finally, I also want to talk about Joseph McKay. In case you don't get those two running backs, I think this is another one. And this is actually a guy who, even if you get one of the two that we looked at earlier, I mean, look at his side. He's a bigger back. Maybe he can even transition to that fullback role. I think he's a take regardless if FSU is able to get him from A&M and Bama. So there you go. That's just my take on this recruitment, like going forward. I think there's some guys who FSU's really on the verge of losing out on, to be quite honest with you. There's some guys that FSU's really on the verge of losing out on, man. But I think you have a chance to – you got to stop the bleeding somehow. But let me get to the comments real quick. Skyline says Fuller is over his head, bro. I'm starting to think so. I'm starting to think Fuller's a bit over his head. Listening to him talk and being like, we thought the three-man look would work, but in hindsight, it didn't. Well, damn it, you didn't see when the score was 38-10 that it didn't work? At what point did Fuller not realize the three-down lineman wasn't working and didn't make any adjustments? You know, I'm starting to believe Fuller's over his head. I really do. All I care about is offensive line and defensive line recruits. Mr. Glass, what's going on? Yeah, I think offensive. So to me, right as of right now, I think they've done a very good job on the offensive line. I think we have a solid O-line class, even with just the 3 guys. Chemo, I think, is a sleeper that people are really sleeping on. LSU's obviously not, as LSU's going after him. And I think Estes is a lot. I think the level of competition hurts Estes. I've watched Estes tape. I think he's extremely solid. Or is the higher potential of the two. I just don't think Mims is that. I would be a shock. I've always said I'd be shocked if we got Mims. I was hoping that we played a couple games, we saw an improvement, but with the way we played, I don't even see us. I don't see us getting Mims. JJ Henry has that name that a breakout player has. JJ Henry is a guy that I think they're looking at hard. And then, he said the interview was wild. Yeah, so Fuller, man, Norvell's going to have to look at that come off season and fix the Fuller thing. He's really going to have to fix the Fuller thing. So now I want to look at this depth chart. I want to look at this depth chart, and I want to talk about some of the interesting things we're going to see on this depth chart. Oh, why does it say that? There we go. So hold on, give me a minute. Phil the King, what's going on? Good to see you. Depth chart. Let me hit that up real quick. All right, here we go. Here's the depth chart. I want to show you some interesting things I see on this depth chart, man. It's updated. I know it says this right here is outdated, but this was updated. So this will be the depth chart going in. You see Pookie Wilson getting the nod at starter. Tamarion Terry's been moved. Tamarion Terry's, man, he's going through some stuff. I really believe Tamarion Terry mentally is all over the place. I mean, if you haven't heard, his grandmother died, and now it's coming out that I think his grandmother was the one who really was the person who raised him. There's a picture of Terry crying on the sideline. Of course, everybody knows by now that him and Dugans got into it in the Miami game. Terry, I think, emotionally and mentally is really going through some things. And it may be best for Terry to sit out at this point and really get his mind together. I hate to see – it's one thing to just play bad, like this sorry sack of bones right here. And it's another thing to be going through, I guess, whatever he's going through. So I wish the best for Tamarion Terry. I honestly do. I'm not going to bash him, and I'm not making any excuses for his play. But everybody takes the death of a loved one differently. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to wish him the best and hope he gets his mind right. And then Portier, who I think, you might even see Portier get bumped in here. Terry, we might not see. I think Terry's got to get himself together. Warren Thompson, sorry sack of bone, like I said. Keyshawn Helton. So before we even get into all that, one of the first major things you see on this offensive depth chart, they got rid of the third wide receiver position. They got rid of the slot. Instead, what they did was added the tailback spot. That's an interesting development there, where they added the tailback spot. So does that mean to me they're going to be running more stacked backfield sets, splitting a running back out wide? I think that might be the smartest thing to do, quite honestly. But Helton and Wilson are your two primary receivers, with Thompson, Jordan Young, and these guys as the backups. Offensive lines had pretty much no change. Tight end room, no change. You see Blackman still the starter. However, I believe if Purdy's healthy, you're going to see Purdy against Jacksonville State. I can almost guarantee you may see Tate Rodemaker against Jacksonville State. I expect them to use a Jordan Travis the same way they started using him. We're not going to see Jordan Travis taking snaps and trying to throw the ball, but you'll see Jordan Travis packages. But the biggest thing I think I see on this offense is right here. That running back and that tailback is extremely interesting to me, and I'm excited to see exactly where they go with this. This guy right here, number 9, true freshman, he needs to see he probably needs to start over Jay Sean. He needs to be on the field. He needs to be all the time. And that means you're splitting them out wide or whatever. You do what you got to do. Interesting that we didn't see any of Webb in the Miami game. That's interesting development going forward. But Toafili and this tailback running back combination, I'm excited to see what they do with that. I really am. Really excited to see where they go with that. Let's move to the defense. Defense had really the least amount of change, if any. I mean, all of this is pretty much what we've been seeing all year. I need to not see Emmett Rice here anymore. I'm not even sure I want to see Jaleel McCray at this point. Let me see what Lundy brings, quite honestly. Steven Nix might as well get the nod over Warner. He's been by far the better player out of the two. I don't even know why this is still I guess with some of these coaches, I guess you want to give these younger players this sense of earning. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to earn their starting role, but at this point, I would say Dix has earned his nod, and they got to figure out something in this weak side linebacker spot. And, of course, Gainer and Deloach, like that's going to be a given. I don't know why we don't see Kavion Glenn on this depth chart. So would love to see him going forward. Asante's not budging. Ronaldo Green. Travis Jay, reportedly, this is one to look out for. Jay was apparently in crutches at practice, which completely sucks. Because he was one of the better players we had against Miami. Travis Jay, to me, jumped off the screen every time he was around the ball. Looked like the most athletic defensive player we had on the field, quite frankly, which I think he is. We know that he's one of the most athletic guys on the team, period. But he just jumped off the field to me. Was everywhere, was always in the mix. And if he's on crutches, that's a tough blow. Nant Hamsa is on the roster, but we'll have to wait and see where that one goes. Jerry and Jones, Akeem Dent, no Miko. So you just look at the injury reserves right here. Miko has not played a snap so far this season. He's been hurt, which I think is really hurting that other corner spot. But I think it should be Dent over Jerry and Jones. I've said that before. My two corners need to be Akeem. From what I've seen in 2 games, I need Akeem Dent. I need Asante Samuel at that corner spot. And then we got the special teams, of course. With, again, nothing really changing here, with the exception of Corey Wren way down here at the end of the depth chart. Maybe we eventually see Corey Wren field a ball or field a punt or something. But what do you guys think about that depth chart, man? The depth chart has some interesting developments, in my opinion, especially offensively. I'm interested to see what they do with that dual backfield. Let me scroll back up. Philip says, Luke Altmaier just crystal ball to Ole Miss. I just had his profile up and didn't see that. So where are you seeing this crystal ball at, mister? Don't be coming here spreading your lying propaganda. You show me where you see that, because I don't see it. Nowhere. And I'm looking at his page right now. 80% Florida State, 13% Ole Miss, 6% Mississippi. So by all means, tell me where I can go to find that information. Not saying you're wrong. I would love to see that. I would love to tell me where you got that information from, though. But I think Luke Altmaier is good as of right now. Atkins is a good recruiter. I like Atkins a lot. We need a youth movement. Of course we do. At this point, we just need to see all the young players. We need to see all of them. Why haven't we seen Rector? I don't know. They prefer. Hold on. If we go back to the depth chart. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go back to Philip here for a minute, because he's over here spreading his propaganda, talking about Altmaier just was crystal ball to Ole Miss. Again, here we are. We're looking at Altmaier's page, and I don't see where he's crystal balled to Ole Miss. So I would love to tell me where you saw that. And if you say go to view all, hold on. There's only 7 predictions. This guy. So one guy who's an Ole Miss insider. Okay. So maybe he feels like he was told something by so this guy right here, David Johnson, Feels like he was just told something. Maybe he has an inside scoop, but he has flipped. He's flipped it. I think that's what they're saying, is that he's flipped it. If you go back and look at a lot of David Johnson's takes, like he's been pretty accurate. He was off on this one. Looks like he's been fairly accurate on most of his takes. So if you go down, he gets more X's. So who knows? Who knows? Until I hear more, I'm not going to take an Ole Miss insider to the bank right now. That's one guy out of how many? His accuracy is so it tells you that their accuracy. He's been 60% accurate on the year. 69% accurate all time. So at least he's over 50. But he's not in the 70s like these two guys below him. Chris Nee has been 90% accurate this year. Chris Nee has been damn near 90% accurate all time. So I'll take Chris Nee over. I'll take a Josh Newberg over. And I know these are all Florida State guys, but they have a higher accurate percentage than Mr. David Johnson. So, yeah. Do I think there's smoke? I already talked about it. I think where there's smoke, you have a little bit of something. And Luke or somebody close to Luke and his family may be saying, hey, if they don't see more, then the recruitment may open up. And that's fine. But I think we got to remember Mike Norvell, Kenny Dillingham offered this kid when he was just a 3-star. So it wasn't until we offered him, we got hot on his trail, that the Alabamas and the Ole Misses were even coming after him. That Florida State scholarship raised his stock tremendously. Quite frankly, his play on the field has raised his stock tremendously. Hopefully he remembers that relationship he developed with those two guys. And we'll see. But so Phillips not wrong. David Johnson, as of the 28th, made this prediction of Florida State and Ole Miss. So there you go. There you go. Thanks for that, Philip. Polk, what's up with Orr? What's up with all the Orrs on the depth chart? To me, that just means anybody can play. To me, that just means no one's starting position is locked. That means anybody can get it, pretty much, the way I look at it. Whoever practices the best, I guess, is the guy that's going to be getting that nod going forward into the next season. I would assume that's the way they're going on about that one. I'm okay with the Orrs because it doesn't let anybody get comfortable. You feel me? Like, bump that. These kids need to be put in uncomfortable situations. So I'm cool with that. I hope we run the ball all over Jacksonville State. That's what I want to see. I thought Wyatt Rector was going to be a big part of the offense. A lot of people did for whatever reason. They seem to like the walk-on kid better than Rector. I don't understand, especially with the way the quarterback room is looking. I'll be honest with you. I'm starting to question some of this stats. And I'm going to hold Norvell to Norvell's standard. And Norvell has been on the record saying, don't take it easy on him because he takes all the blame. So I'm going to start holding him to his own standard here, and I'm starting to not understand why you move a guy who was a quarterback. Now, I don't know how good of a quarterback Wyatt Rector was, but I'm looking at the state of our quarterback room right now. Why do we detract from the quarterback room and move a guy to a position that he's not even getting any snaps? They prefer a true freshman walk-on over Wyatt Rector. So they don't even feel Wyatt Rector can contribute anything in the passing game or the blocking game at tight end. He probably could have contributed in the wide receiver game, the quarterback game at this point. Hell, I would have put Wyatt Rector back there behind center and see what he's got at this point. So I'm starting to question this staff's decision-making on personnel because it's not really looking – there's a lot of freshmen we're not seeing who I think we need to be seeing. There's just some things. There's some things that defensive secondary. I think we're rotating corners way too much, and we need to get with a set group of guys. I'm starting to question their. I'm just starting to question some things, man. But hey, if you're just joining the chat, please hit that like button. And as you can see, man, we talking recruiting, we talking depth chart, we talking all that good stuff here on this Tuesday night. The hangover from Saturday. It will not be Blackman starting if Chuba is ready. Yeah, I don't even think if Chuba isn't ready. I have a feeling. I have a feeling. Why not? At this point, why not just go with Roadmaker against the Jacksonville State and just do what? I understand. There's no way we can lose that game. I don't see it. So why not just go with the young guy? And like other people have said, mainly I think Tyler said it. Run the ball. Offense has a set P. What's that say? Offense has a step in the right direction. We better be running the 4-man front. I already got that. So look at 247. Philip says, yeah, just keeping you posted. Appreciate it. Hope, if Fuller can't fix the defense this season, do you think Norvell looks for somebody else after year one? The beautiful thing about this year, and it's the only beautiful thing about this year, this year is looked at as a throwaway year. I don't think Fuller will lose his job after year one. Granted, I think Mike Norvell, I don't think he's feeling much pressure this year. I'll be honest with you. Next year, the temperature is really going to heat up. Not saying he's going to be at threat of losing his job, because he's not. Because quite frankly, the school can't afford to fire him. But he's going to have to fix it from a recruiting standpoint sooner rather than later. If the defense shows no improvement over the season, yeah, I think Fuller is in jeopardy. Fuller might get another year, though. How long will Travis J be under what's going on? Baggy fan for life. Sorry. But he says, how long will Travis J be under play? I had no word on it. All I heard was that he was in crutches during practice, but he's actually listed on the depth chart. So it's I don't know, man. We'll see. He says JSU will give us a game. I see it already. They have a quarterback who was a Clemson decommit who was actually fairly highly rated. So that kind of worries me. I'm not even going to lie. Jacksonville State has a quarterback who was a Clemson kid who was pretty highly rated as coming out of high school. And I got to believe our offense can move the ball against Jacksonville State, though. I gotta believe it. Don't expect a 60-0 blowout, though. I'm thinking I'd be happy, honestly. No lies. I'd be happy if this offense put up 30 points. I just want to see the defense be able to do something against an inferior opponent. I'd be happy if we were able to put 30 points on the board, man, at this point. That'll show some growth to me. What's up, Raymond? Giuseppe, what's up? Tape seemed mature in his interview. Yeah, I watched his interview today. Tape seems like he got a good head on his shoulders for sure. Giuseppe says, why aren't we going the JUCO route? I'm sure there are a bunch of legit JUCO guys out there starving for attention from Power 5 schools. The problem with the JUCO route, Giuseppe, man, is you don't want to build a team in the JUCO. For one, they have limited eligibility. Usually you're going to get a JUCO guy who's sophomore or junior. That's number one. Number two, a lot of times with the JUCO guys, man, they are what they are at that point. There's not a lot of development left in these guys. So you really want to build out of high school. A lot of times, that's why I like red shirt. That's why, maybe JUCO. You don't see a lot of JUCO quarterbacks, right? You see a lot of JUCO guys who come in and plug and play right away because they kind of just are what they are at this point. But we do need to fill some holes, that's for sure. John Shields up, Polk. Norvell seems nervous and without much passion in his press conferences. I don't know if I agree with that take. I won't say he seems nervous. If you watch any of his press conferences up until this point, Norvell is very general. He's doesn't give a lot of details, and he's been like that even before the season starts. He's very what's the word I'm looking for? He's very nonchalant, but I think he's like that on purpose. He doesn't do anything to give away any. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't try to tip his hand. Like I think Norvell probably plays decent hand of poker. To me, he doesn't look nervous. He just looks like he's been looking. And plus, he has nothing to be nervous about. So I don't know what he'd be nervous for. His job is safe, at least for the remainder of his contract. He's not going anywhere. The school's paying too much money for the guy down there in Boca. So it's not like they can get rid of Norvell and get another guy. So he's definitely got nothing to be nervous about. So I don't necessarily agree with that one. So we did a depth chart breakdown, man. We did a little bit of recruiting breakdown. Vague. There you go. See, Raymond, you a smart man. Vague is the word I'm looking for. He's very vague. Thank you. And we did all of that. Showed you guys a little bit of the share screen and all that. So that was pretty cool stuff. And really, man, that's the state of the program. Like, we are on the verge of really missing out on some guys that I thought we had. I thought we had Payson in the bag, and now I'm not too sure. And maybe some people feel better on Payson than I do, but I don't at this point. I don't. Because he's had 4 or 5 months to pull that trigger, and he refuses. He refuses to commit, and I'm thinking he's looking at that field and he's going, man, these guys can't get receivers the ball. I don't know if I want to go play. So Jacksonville State isn't going to tell us much. I'll be honest with you. If people are looking at the Jacksonville State, the only thing to take from Jacksonville State is if we somehow go out there and get upset. Then that's going to tell you everything you ever needed to know. If we go out there and get upset, which I'm not predicting to happen, then you're going to know everything you ever needed to know. But other than that, Jacksonville State's not going to tell you anything. Again, I want to see us put up about 30 some odd points. If we can get close to 40, that'd be great. I would like to see this defense make a stop. Some defense adjustments would be a great thing to see. But again, don't take much from Jacksonville State. Unless an upset, or let's see if they go with the total youth movement during Jack. If there's a game to do it, it's that game. You don't do it against Notre Dame. You don't do it against North Carolina, right? If there's a game to do it, it's going to be that game. Let's see if they throw Tate Rodemaker out there to start. You get Toafili in the backfield. You get some of those freshman receivers out there. You get a Robert Scott on that offensive line. Thomas Schrader, especially if Bavion. Like I've been a proponent of why is Bavion still on the field? Why are we still playing Bavion Johnson? Somebody answer that question. Because as I look at this depth chart, Mr. Thomas Schrader, I don't even think we saw Brady Scott last game. But Mr. Thomas Schrader here, put him in for Bavion Johnson. Because there's no reason why my redshirt senior should be constantly getting false start penalties on a short, third and short, fourth and short situations. You're the redshirt senior guard who you literally have to look over an inch and watch the football, and you can't even do that. Give me Thomas Schrader, and at least if the freshman jumps off sides, I can forgive that. We understand that there's growth that needs to happen with the freshman. But I can't. I give a senior offensive lineman guard no pass on stupid mistakes like that. So those are the key things you want to see in that Jacksonville State game. Do they go with the total youth movement? I think we should. Same thing defensively. I don't need to see Emmett Rice and Leonard Warner at linebacker anymore. So those are the things that we got to see. Will Chuba play on Saturday? If he is healthy and clear, I expect him to. Where is Brian Robinson? Great question. I need to see number 3 on the field. He was the best wide receiver in the class. We need to get him on the field. Their QB needs one more touchdown to break their record. JSU will come to play. Yeah, I know they got a pretty good quarterback. I do know that. I do know they'll come to play. Saturday is basically just to get these guys reps on film. They better figure it out on Saturday. Again, but if you go with the total youth movement, that'd be great to see. I think they're going to throw the starters out there to start. They're going to throw some of the starters out. They're going to throw some of the senior guys out there. They're going to not take any chances, I don't think. And they're going to want to try to build a lead before they let the younger guys play. Hope you look like Bobby Bowden in this hand. If Bobby Bowden was a few skin tones darker, we'd probably be twins. I agree. It shouldn't even be close, even with the youth movement. I agree. We should just be flat out more talented. But I really want to see the youth movement though. Don't say that, Kenny. I don't think we're gonna fold. Don't say that. Saturday is about putting something in the win column. It damn sure is. More so than anything else, Saturday is about putting something in the win column. Dion about to beat FSU next. Dion coaches at Jackson State, not Jacksonville State. Bro, Polk, it's feeling like Coach Willie Taggart all over again in some instances thus far. No heart, hiding players to the left, upperclassmen play. At some point, we got to give these kids the blame, man. 3 different coaching staffs, the Enda Jimbo era, the Willie Taggart era, and now this. And again, the common denominator is a lot of these kids are just, we still talking about the Warren Thompsons, the James Blackmans of the world, Corey Durden not showing up. Like, it's the same things, the same problem guys. It's just it's the players. You gotta. I understand the coaching, and again, I was not one of the ones that was vehemently wanted Willie out of there. And when it happened, I wasn't happy that Willie got fired. And then some things sort of came out after the fact. Here's one of the things that sold me on the Willie Taggart firing, to be honest with you, was the fact that I was listening to recruits say how disorganized their recruiting visits were and how much they didn't really take Willie Taggart serious. When I start hearing recruits talk about them like that, I was like, yeah, we got to get those guys out of there, because the recruiting is the lifeblood of any program. And if recruits were coming on campus and everything was a big joke, you weren't gonna get these kids. And the kids that you were gonna get were gonna be the wrong type of kids that weren't concerned with winning, but more concerned with having fun. So those were the things that sold me on Taggart's firing. As far as on the field, there's some on the field stuff too, but mostly I think the on the field problem is these kids lack heart. These kids aren't winners. And we got to start putting some of the onus on these kids, and we got to just get the right guys in. We got to get the right guys in the program. Yeah, I already asked about Kavion. I don't know why we haven't seen him on any of the depth charts. That's another guy. I need to see him at that linebacker, one of those linebacker spots. Don't care which one. Until Purdy's ready to play, I want to see back and forth between Tate and Jordan. Yep. I agree. If you're going to go back and forth with with Jordan and Blackman, you can do the same thing with Tate and Jordan. And I think Rodemaker, in that small sample size, he made throws, and one was a back shoulder throw, throws that I've never seen James Blackman ever make. But until Purdy is healthy, yeah, I would like to see that too. Clemson, ready for hurricane sandwich. Well, we ain't talking about no Clemson, but what's up, Malik? Nobody care about no Clemson or no Hurricanes right now. We're talking about the disaster that is Florida State University and how we going to fix it, Malik. Bavion is the perfect example of that. It's the players. Thank you. Bavion is the perfect example that it is the players. Guys like Bavion. Guys that when FSU's sustaining a drive, moving the chains, gets himself in a manageable short yard situation. A red shirt senior who's been a part of the program for the last 5 years jumps offside at guard. He's not a wide receiver who's not looking at the ball. He's a guard. He's right by the football. Should know the snap count. All of that. And he consistently jumped off sides in that Miami game. I'm not putting an entire loss on Bavion, but it's those mistakes that he's done throughout his career, and Bavion has yet to improve on any of it. That has nothing to do with coaching, and that's just that kid. And there's a lot of kids like that kid. Clemson is smacking them, most likely. I can go with that, bro. Does Luke beat out Chubba? We got to see Chubba first. Before I make that assumption, we definitely got to see Chubba first. If Chubba gets on the field, and I know what scares me about Purdy, and it has nothing to do with Purdy, because as a freshman, he's going to make mistakes. As a freshman, once he finally gets in there and becomes the full-time guy, he's going to have a game or two, maybe three of where he just has a bad game because he's a true freshman. And what scares me about Purdy is the fan base is going to eat his ass alive. This fickle, emotional ass fan base is going to eat his ass alive when Purdy has a bad game and call him the bus and call him all this stuff. The way that everybody crowned Jeff Sims after one game, yet you look what Jeff Sims during Syracuse, you haven't heard anybody talk about it. But they crowned him as the next Lamar Jackson when he played Florida State week 1. Nobody's criticizing him now because the fan base doesn't like to be wrong. They're going to destroy Chubba Purdy if and when he has a bad game. That's what scares me. Other than that, I still would ride with Purdy. What's up? Okay. That's the only thing that really scares me about Chubba Purdy. He's going to have a bad game here or there, but you still ride with him because he's the future, hopefully. But we got to see him play. My man, seriously question here. If a couple years down the line we're still bad and A&M let Jimbo go, do you consider making up with him considering he won a natty here? I don't think the boosters want anything to do with Jimbo Fisher. From a football perspective and the ties that he had while he's here, would it make a little bit of sense? Sure, it'll make a little bit of sense. But at that point, maybe Deion Sanders goes to Jackson State and shows that he can really coach, because that was the only reason why I was ever against hiring Deion Sanders as a true football coach here. No head coaching experience at the top level for Deion. Now, Jackson State ain't the top level, but it's still college. It's still recruiting, right? But the boosters don't want nothing to do with Jimbo. That probably won't happen in 50 years. Jimbo burnt every bridge he had here in Tallahassee. That would never happen. Malik, Miami isn't a sandwich. We a whole surf and turf meal. Clemson, now they talking about Clemson, Miami. We got a Gator guy. What's going on, Fragrance Journey? So pissed you don't get to smack. Oh, no, you're not. I thought you put the Gators in the comment. My bad. What's up, Fragrance? Yeah, I would have loved to play the Gators, but that game don't look too good either, man. That would have looked like a bad thing right there. The point I'm trying to make about Bavion is that all the other kids know the snap count. Nobody else is getting false starts. That's what I'm saying. All the kids know the snap count with Bavion somehow. And again, I'm going to keep going back to it with Bavion. He's a redshirt senior. Donta Lucas is a true sophomore. Maurice Smith is a redshirt freshman. Darius Washington is a redshirt freshman. Who am I leaving out? And Devontae Love-Tabor is obviously a redshirt senior. But there's 3 guys on that line who are young players, and they don't have the same issues that a redshirt senior has. I wouldn't bring Jimbo. Let this out to dry. Philip says, hell no. Yeah, Jimbo's not even a possibility at this point. It took a few years to get to this point. It would take definitely. This isn't a overnight fix. I said that scrolling across the bottom of the screen. 3 to 4 year rebuild at the minimum. We got to get the old guys out, bring in the new guys, and then develop them. You're talking 3 to 4 years, guys. And that doesn't mean we can have to be inept for 3 to 4 years. We can still be competitive, and we can still win 7, 8 games going forward. But when I say 3 to 4 years of competing back in the ACC championship picture. Let's do this one step at a time, right? Let's win our division. Let's have a couple upsets against Clemson, right? Let's build it up, compete with Clemson. Once you start competing with Clemson, let's try to start winning the ACC again. Then we can start talking playoffs once we can get a couple ACC championships out of all of this. But we have to take it one step at a time, and we got to build, and it's not going to be a quick overnight fix. Do you think FSU recruiting fall? Do you think FSU recruiting falls tremendously this year? Tremendous is such a strong word, Danis. You Hurricane fans are so funny when using your big adjectives. Tremendously, no. Now, do I think there's some guys that we may have had a shot for that we possibly could miss out on? Yeah, I do, obviously. When you say tremendously, that means you think we're going to have a couple decommits, and I don't necessarily think that. We are already talking about getting a new coach. Yeah, that's the fan base I'm talking about, Tyler. Game 1, we were talking about a new head football coach. Not me. Obviously, I think I'm one of the more rational fans, and I tend to believe that most of the people that watch me on a routine basis are some rational. Most of the people I talk to in here, man, you guys are really rational fans, and I appreciate that. But if you're on FSU Twitter or anything like that, you know how toxic the fan base is and can be. Once Chubba messes up, it's going to be they are going to pin him to the cross. I'm telling you right now. Do I think some recruits? I talked about it earlier. I think, again, Luke Altmaier is a recruitment to watch because the quarterback position looks terrible. And who would want to come play in that type of a system? So the staff is going to have to do extra hard to really talk to that kid and cement that relationship, which I think that relationship is extremely strong anyway, and really convince him that, but if you look at the teams that we're competing with Luke Altmaier, I don't necessarily think Bama's in the mix. It's really those 2 Mississippi schools. Mike Leach is going to do phenomenal things with his quarterback, and Lane Kiffin had both of his quarterbacks, even though they got blew out by Florida, both of them looked effective. We ain't had a quarterback that even has looked effective in the season. So I don't think he's going to flip, but that's one to watch out for. And the only other one that concerns me was Chemo, because LSU was pretty hard on him, and that's the offensive tackle we got. That's one of the offensive tackles we got, and LSU seems to be highly interested in him, and he seems to be really happy with LSU too. He said that was the best experience of his life when he met Coach Ed O. So that's not a great thing to say when you're committed to Florida State, but those are the guys I'd watch. No, we don't have to beat Miami first. I know you guys want to come in here. You want to make it all about the U. Y'all want to make it all about the U, who nobody gives a damn about. But we don't have to beat Miami first. No, what we have to do is compete in the ACC division first. We can lose to Miami and still win the division. You understand what I'm saying? We don't have to beat y'all first. As far as recruiting, would it help? Sure, it would help. But we gotta sustain football games first. Compete in the division first. And I'm talking bigger picture here. I'm talking because you could lose Miami every year, still win your division, and compete for the ACC championship. That's what I'm talking about. Now, if you want to talk about recruiting, Norvell's behind the 8 ball in Miami anyway, because there's not one person on this staff that can recruit South Florida like that. That's the unfortunate thing about letting Telly Lockett go. I think Miami offered him more money anyway, because I think that's where he's at. But that was one of the most that was the one guy from the staff, from the Willie Taggart staff, that I really wanted Norvell to keep, because I know how, if you're from Florida, you know how important South Florida is. Right now, Dugans ain't really getting it done down there. And I don't know if we have a guy we don't have a guy on this team right now, on this staff, that can really go into South Florida and compete. Tyler can't happen and won't happen because of money. For better or worse, we're stuck with Norvell. It's a Kane reunion. They're loving and kissing. I don't think they'll lose recruits. Majority of them are 3 stars anyway. We have 5 4 stars. I mean, y'all have 10 3 stars. So What is like? Here y'all go throwing these shots. If you look at our commits, we have 5. We only have, first of all, we don't even have 20 commits yet. We have 16 total commits, 5 4-stars, and what? That makes what? 11 3-stars, which DeQuavion Fuller, I wouldn't even count him in the class because I don't think he's going to end up being in the class. So pretty much 10. I would say we have 15 total commits, quite honestly. Because there's a guy who I know is not going to end up being in this class, and that's Fuller's little brother, DeQuavion Fuller. Hold on, lost my spot. I don't even know why I highlighted your comment there. Let's get out of here. 9 wins a year is the standard if the build is 3 to 4 years. Well, the build's going to be that regardless. Whether they get 9 wins a year, that remains to be seen. But the build is going to be 3 to 4 years regardless. Y'all talking about beating the number 1 team. I never said we were beating the number 1 team. You think is Clemson always going to be the number 1 team 3 to 4 or 5 years from now? I'm saying we got to get there and compete. That's where it starts. Come on now, be rational. That's how it starts, with competing against the top teams in your division. That's how you build a program and get back to national prominence. If you can't beat Clemson and you can't compete for the ACC, I mean, you guys should know this. You guys ain't won the ACC in 20 years or however long you've even been in the ACC. So y'all should know all about not winning the ACC and how irrelevant y'all have been in the last 15, 20 years. So the point I'm making is not that we're just going to go out here and beat Clemson, but it starts with putting together the right team and then competing against Clemson. Let's take it to the SEC West. Any team that comes out of the SEC West has to go through Alabama, period. Whether that was Auburn, Texas A&M, LSU, name it. You had to go through Alabama, and you always are going to have to go through Alabama. It used to be you had to go through Florida State. We fell off. Well, we got to get back there. So, you can laugh and make it about whatever you want to make it about, but we just talking real talk. Pope, we aren't recruiting the state of Florida strongly. We are not making the waves in the state of Florida that we need to. I will agree with that. That's for sure. And that comes with these guys that don't have any time. Like one of the things that was most exciting about Willie Taggart was all his Florida ties. It didn't translate into the recruiting, but it was one of the things that was extremely exciting about Taggart. Norvell doesn't have that. And unlike Jimbo was able to be a head coach in waiting for years and build his relationships in the state of Florida. So when Jimbo finally did take over, he already had him. He took off running. When I say 3 to 4 years, that's what I'm talking about. 3 to 4 years. He's got to build a relationship with high school coaches. He's got to make tweaks to the staff, eventually get guys who can recruit in certain areas. And I ultimately win football games. If you John Shields makes a little bit of sense when he talks. Not everybody else does. Fix your O-line and QB, and y'all. It all's going to start with being competitive, and it's all going to start. I like that, y'all. It's all going to start with that QB, especially if you look at right now. It's going to start with that QB play, man. If you can't play quarterback, you're not going to. Kids ain't. One of the reasons why you think North Carolina has taken off in recruiting like it did. Because Sam Howell came in, showed that he was somewhat of a freshman phenom, and now these high school running backs and these high school kids like, damn, I want to go play with Sam Howell. He looked like he the goods. That's all it is. We got to find that. Ain't no kid looking at James Blackman wanting to come play for that crap. Hopefully we can get that out of Purdy, but until we get something on the field that's going to show these kids that there's a future, we're going to be in trouble. Telly Lockett is a major help. He was. That was the one guy I wanted to keep on that roster was Telly Lockett. How you think we feel when Golden couldn't recruit his own backyard? There's some things about Golden, and again, it wasn't even that Golden couldn't recruit Miami. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but because some of my better friends are Miami fans. It ain't even that Golden couldn't recruit his own backyard. It's that Golden didn't want to. Golden wanted to get away from that right? That you know how you guys got the chains and the rings now, that stigma or stereotype that comes with South Florida. Golden wanted to get away from that. There's a lot of guys that Devontae Freeman's one. I'll just throw Devontae out there, who wanted to play for Miami. And Al Golden it's not that he couldn't, he didn't want to. He didn't want to recruit South Florida. He wanted to be the temple of the South, which was the stupidest shit ever. Golden just wasn't. Why would you neglect the talent in your own backyard? Was idiotic to me as far as Al Golden goes. But there's a lot of Miami players at that time that I recall that wanted to play for y'all. Golden just didn't want them. That's one of the things why Devontae Freeman always was determined to kill y'all when we played y'all, because he was like, Miami didn't want me. So, those are the things that happen with Golden. Novell's not that dumb. Need to beat the Gators before UM. FSU's recruits will be coming to Clemson. At least you know you have a like every time I comment. Yep. Appreciate it, like always. Yep, they sure did. Somebody said Pitt is looking like the second best team. Are they really? I've seen them a little bit. Pitt looks pretty good this year. Offense does look pretty good. Virginia about to get thrashed. Why are we still talking about Clemson stuff? Miami, we know Miami never won an ACC nothing. Giuseppe says, switch QBs between Miami and Florida State. And what do you think that score on Saturday's game would have been? Honestly, if you give Miami James Blackman and you give us De'Aaron King, I think the score would be similar in the opposite direction. I don't know if it'd be 52-10. But I guarantee it would have been something around 40-something to something. It would have been a blowout. What did James Blackman do? James Blackman, for those who don't know, so I'm Pro Football Focus. James Blackman graded out the worst on the entire football team. Your starting quarterback graded out worse than the Bavion Johnsons of the world. How many catches did Warren Thompson had? Oh, yes, right. He had none. James Blackman graded out worse than him. If you put James Blackman on that Miami team, you're going to see very similar results. It just is what it is. Paul Golden destroyed our culture by doing that. See, that's what I'm talking about, Dennis. You know what I'm talking about. It wasn't that he couldn't recruit. Golden tried to completely change the whole identity of Miami. And you can't do that. And that's why them kids didn't play for him. And the kids that wanted to play for him eventually didn't want to play for him and went elsewhere. You could blame Al Golden to why Bama and Clemson now have strong ties in South Florida now, because he ran everybody away. It was a very dumb decision by Al Golden. Absolutely. So Dalvin Cook actually grew up a Gator fan, if I'm not mistaken. Dalvin Cook was actually committed to Florida and Clemson at one point. There you go. James Blackman ain't a Dan Mullen type of coach, so I don't even know if I agree with that. But James Blackman isn't a Dan Mullen type of quarterback, is what I meant to say. I don't necessarily agree with that. No one saying James Blackman would start at UAM. We're just bringing in hypotheticals. That's why we got to fix the QB immediately. Yeah, we've been saying that. I've been saying that for, I don't know how long do I have to say it. that I was tired. I said it after last year's bowl game. I said I don't want to see James Blackman anymore, and I was firm on that. Chubba Purdy day one. Then Purdy got hurt. Then I saw some clips of James Blackman looking like he improved his mechanics a little bit, and I said, okay, I'll ease up on Black. I'll give him a chance. Well, I was dumb. He fooled the hell out of me, and I was dead wrong. I should have stuck with my guns and said Chubba Purdy day one, even with the injury. Well, damn it, anybody but Blackman. And you see the results. It should have been anybody but Blackman. He says QB is not even close, which you're wrong, but I'll continue to read this. FSU's only problem. I don't think a change with just King would make the score flip-flop. What is our biggest problem then? Because it's that when you say it's not even close, that's dead wrong. We don't need quarterback. We don't need corners. That's wrong. We need, again, I'll go back to Adam Fuller. We need a defensive mind back there to do what the hell he should do. Outside of quarterback, what's our biggest problem? O-line? Okay, we can talk about the O-line, even though I think the O-line has vastly, and I watch every Florida State game every year, and the O-line has looked better than it's looked in the last 3 years. So I don't know if that's saying much, but I'm seeing improvement on the offensive line. I'm seeing a defensive coordinator do the same mistakes that last year's D coordinator did, where he's playing guys in positions that they shouldn't be played. The Adam Fuller interview, and we already talked about it, man. We already talked about it earlier in the stream. Adam Fuller said it himself in his own little interview. He thought the three-man front would be effective. Obviously, he was wrong. But at no point during the game did he see what he was doing defensively and say, I should adjust my guys or, adjust what we're doing. Anybody can go and look at tape after the fact and say, oh, that was bad. The great coaches, the great offense or defensive minds for that matter, make in-game adjustments. Adam Fuller's showing to not be that. Samuel's good. Who the other corner? Again, you wouldn't know because we don't play them. They rotate corners too much. The other corner should be Akeem Dent. He's the other corner that's actually pretty good. You playing Jerry Jones, he gets beat or drops interceptions all the time. Same thing with Jarvis Browley, all the time. It's not from what I'm watching, it's not the players that I'm mad about. It's the rotation of the players, where they're putting them on the field. Three-man front, and then that fourth defensive end, Janarius Robinson, you're standing him up. What is he? This dude is 6'5", 260 some odd pounds. He does not move well in space, and you're standing him up in zone coverage. Those are dumb decisions. That is all about scheme. That's not about, you're not putting the players in the best position to make plays. The only thing we've seen is the special team improvements is the only thing we've seen. Thank you, Dylan, man. Thank you for that. Like I said, got 36 people. I should have 36. I didn't even check how many likes I got, but I got 36 folks in here, man. I should have 36 likes at least. Y'all hit that like button like always, man, and support the channel. Your O-line doesn't have any depth. Now, that's true. Our O-line has no depth. I'm not going to disagree with that. Again, I think our starting five has made improvements. But you're absolutely right. Once those guys go out or somebody gets hurt, yeah, the drop-off is drastic. The drop-off is drastic. I am not going to lie there. Losing Cam Akers is a big hit. Hello, Destroy with the Gator Eye. It's an ugly symbol, but what's up, homie? Good to see you. I hope Norvell can get Orr and Mims from Georgia. Orr and Mims would be awesome. We got Orr. I don't know about Mims, but we got Orr. Mims would completely change everything from day one. He would completely change everything. Lorenzo, We need coaches that can motivate. These kids don't have any motivation, grit, or passion. You're absolutely right? But that also comes down to the person. That comes up to the individual. If, as a man, I can't get motivated, it's one thing. I know everybody's coached differently. Everybody's got different mindsets and different ways they approach the game or even everyday life. But as me, Poke, I can't motivate myself in the morning to wake up and get shit done. That's something as a man I need to look in the mirror and be like, man, what the hell is going on? I shouldn't need somebody over me and be like, yo, you need to get out there and mow the grass. You need to do your college homework today. Or you need to, you know what I'm saying? At some point, get out there and have some damn balls about you. That's all I'm saying. But I agree. Guys need to definitely get motivated but again, you need that, in my opinion, man, you need that from inside the locker room. Yes, you need coaches, but again, if you look at championship teams from years out, pro level, college level, the best leaders were the guys on the field that could motivate. Those guys in the locker room, if you're more scared to disappoint your guy to the left or right of you, you'll play better. If you don't give a damn about that individual, it is what it is. Everybody's out for themselves. That's kind of how that works. I didn't see Akeem Dent get caught on. I did see them play off, but I saw Akeem Dent. I didn't see Akeem Dent get caught on. I mean, every corner is going to get caught on. Corner that doesn't give up plays. Browley was the one who looked bad, and so did Jones. He says, every starter on D was recruited by other power schools. The O gives them zero juice to compete. That's true, too. That defense is full of guys that every other school and every other major Power 5 school wanted. But when you go out there and you see the way that offensive plays, that motivation and that momentum don't transition over to the defense. And also the defensive scheme is a big problem there, too. Norvell doesn't seem real put good offensive mind. Too early for me to say that. I'm not going to say that right now. I agree, Lorenzo. What Lorenzo said. Oh, okay. You agree with that one. Okay. Tyler, what happened to Noel Knight? Decided to go our separate ways, Tyler, and do our own thing. That's what happened to Noel Knight. Not really going to get too deep into it. But yeah, pretty much decided to do our own thing from here on out. Nothing but the best for that dude. But yeah, man, see this good. We're having pretty good conversation in here tonight. So FSU definitely got some things to work on. I'm not going to deny it. I think coaching is one thing. I think players holding themselves accountable is another. That's just how I look at it. I look at some of the best teams in Florida State history, and they all had what you call like self-police. They policed themselves and held themselves to a higher standard. So eventually, man, we're going to get to where we need to be. But this is not going to be an overnight fix. It'll be very interesting to see where we go from here with the youth movement, which I'm completely expecting to start up sooner rather than later. Trying to see the youth movement. Trying to see these guys, these young guys, take these spots. I mean, Toafili played like he wanted it. That's just me. Toafili wanted it. Some of these other guys wanted it. Throw these young offensive linemen in there and let's see what they got. Let me get some of these young wide receivers out there and let's see what we got. If we go out and beat Georgia Tech, do you think the score is different versus Miami? Definitely, because then you have a certain level of confidence. This team don't have any confidence in itself. They see what they put on the field. They see what they put on film. They got no confidence in themselves. And they come out there, jump up like they did. And that wasn't even really, it was what, 10-0. It's not like we even jumped out on them. It was freaking 10-0. And then to just be completely inept the rest of the game, yeah, that's going to crush your, demoralize the hell out of you. Novella's mentioning the youth so much. Disappointing to see. That's obviously, man. It is. Why is your freshman more hungry than a guy who should be trying to make some NFL money right now? Right? You got a guy. You got Emmett Rice, who's a senior linebacker who should be trying to get on some NFL team radar, and he's playing like trash. And on and on and on. Was Emmett Rice or Leonard Warner or whoever, man? Bavion Johnson, again, senior offensive lineman, should be trying to get to the NFL. No hunger, no passion. And when things get bad, no fight. No fight. The outlook for this team going forward is to show you got people who give a damn and who care. People who want it. Whatever that means. You don't want it. Quite frankly, I don't think we should need you. And I said this at the end of Saturday night. Marvin Wilson. And I hate to say it because I'm one of his biggest defenders because I do believe I believe the things Marvin Wilson does on the football field, and I've said this before and I'll continue to preach it, don't show up in the stat sheets. It doesn't. And that's not even Marvin Wilson. That's a defensive tackle, period. All that stuff the defensive tackles do not always show up in the stat sheets, and it doesn't mean they're not doing their job. But at this point, Marvin may be more beneficial to him to opt out because I think you're losing money by the game, Marvin Wilson. You went from being considered one of the top 10 draft picks to I think you're losing money by the game because while you're not playing as bad as everyone wants to say you're playing, you're also not showing a lot of good film either. Marvin Wilson should just opt out. We could continue to play some of these young defensive tackles. And Marvin should opt out and save himself some money. I don't think he's going to do it. And this isn't me bashing on Marvin Wilson, who I actually like. I mean, I like all these kids, honestly. Some of these kids Warren Thompson, ugh. But Marvin's not doing himself any favors. Let me read some comments. Terry should put the aggression into his play if he's really first round potential. Terry's going through some stuff mentally. I believe Terry's going through some stuff mentally that, he's dealing with a tough situation. Tamarion Terry is. I'm honestly surprised Terry is still here. There were rumors about him opting out. People were saying he was cussing out Dugans on the sideline. So, yeah, they actually showed it during the game. Him and Dugans had got into it on the sidelines. There's also a picture of Terry crying on the sidelines. Dugans looking at him. There were rumors. He's been moved down the depth chart, which I showed. There's been rumors that he potentially could opt out. I think Terry has a lot going on in his life. And I'm not here to make excuses for Tamarion Terry. But again, if you ever dealt with the loss of somebody who raised you, and for him, we all deal with things differently. Some people might use that to motivate themselves, and they'll go out there and have the game or the season of their life. And other people's, maybe they just fold mentally, or everybody's going to deal with some things differently. I think Terry mentally is not there at all. I think you can see it. You can obviously see it. That he's mentally not in the game, and it probably would serve him best to take some time. If that means opt out, then I think Terry's another one. You're losing money with the way you're playing, and we could probably play the freshmen in your place. And maybe you just need that time to mentally fix yourself. Yeah, FSU has never not had an NFL caliber running back in the running. I think we got one right now. He might be a true freshman, but he's seeing. You want to talk about Ward Gunn? Told Philly kind of looked like that, man. High praise for him, I know, but I see a lot of wiggle. I see a lot of. Told Philly might be missing that second gear that Ward Gunn had, but I see a lot of good things out of number 9. Yeah, Marvin's making himself look like a fool. He's literally getting pushed back, moonwalking. No Tuesday night special with Turk. Not anymore. That won't be a thing going on anymore, Bobby. Terry pissed his QB can't get the rock to him. It might be true. Terry probably is, but Terry's also got other things going on. And when the QB does get the ball to him, like in Georgia Tech, he's got to catch it, and he did it. So, but Terry knew who he was coming into the season with. He knew Blackman was going to be his guy coming into the season. So you can't really use the Terry. I don't want to say that's an excuse. Don't be mad. You knew you had James Blackman when you came into the season. You could have opted out and went pro. Scouts already paying notice to the games that's being played on Marv. Yeah. Another point that nobody wants to make about Marvin Wilson, and again, this is going to be me defending him. And I'm gonna I'll ask the Clemson fan, a Gator fan in here, and all you Miami fans can tune in or give your thoughts on this. Name another player on that defensive line that a team has to game plan for that's not named Marvin Wilson. I'll wait. Name one. If you're the offensive coordinator of an opposing team, name a player on that defensive line that you say we have to consistently double that's not named Marvin Wilson. There ain't one. But nobody wants to talk about that either, about Marv. That he's getting constantly doubled, tripled, and that he has no help on the outside. No one can generate a pass rush. So you're talking about a one-man wrecking crew at defensive line who's being null. He's being null and voided. Again, I know it sounds like I'm just sitting here defending the hell out of Marvin Wilson, but those are the fact. Those are like things that happen on a football field. That's what's happening. Teams go, let's contain number 21. There's not another threat on that defensive line that we have to worry about. And it's shown, you see it. The proof's in the pudding. And like Phil just said right here, how many times did Miami throw to the Asante Saturday night? I can't remember, maybe more than 2 targets against Asante. That's all I'm saying. Smart offensive coaches know that. Oh, you know how else you coach around a defensive tackle? You run to the edges. We don't have any good edge. We don't have good edge play. We knew that coming into the season that we didn't have any good defensive ends. The one guy that we hoped was going to be good can't stay healthy, and that's Joshua King, though. We knew we had no defensive ends going into the season. Tyler says, I'm liking Toll-Field. I also thought Webb looked good against Georgia Tech, but he was nowhere to be. Yeah, he didn't. I don't know why they did not play Webb. That was a very interesting development there. But Toll-Field looks like he's got the goods. Looking like he got the goods. Corbin's scared to get injured again, I think. I don't know what's going on with Corbin. He doesn't look terrible. To me, Corbin just looks a bit slow. Might be the weight gain with Corbin. Gino Bruce said facts. Gino, man, I'm telling you, they're doing everything in their power to avoid Marvin Wilson. It just is what it is. He needs to play better. I'm not saying he doesn't, but there's a way to game plan against one lone defensive tackle. He's not Aaron Donald. They're not the two same type. You know what I mean? Like, there's different levels to this. And while Marvin's not maybe the guy that some people thought he was, he's also getting no help, and teams are only game planning for him. I know you're against it, but we got to cycle some new players. No, I'm not against the JUCO. We can't build a team through the JUCOs. I'm all for getting offensive linemen necessarily, but then you got to get the right one. right? Defensive lineman, I'm cool with that. I mean, hell, Webb's a JUCO guy. I don't know why they didn't play him. I'm not against the JUCOs. Don't make a habit of trying to build a roster out of JUCO guys, though. You got to get high school kids and develop them. Pope, how do you feel about not playing? Regardless of how we look, I always want to play the Gators. So I'm pissed about it, regardless of how we look. And I don't, everybody that's sitting here and say the Gators would probably blow us out, and that probably is true. Yet I still want to see that game. I think Josh Griffiths. I like Josh Griffiths. I think that kid is strong. It's going to take him some time to learn the nuances of that position. Obviously, he needs some work, but I think he's probably been the one defensive end that's jumped off the screen when I watch us. But is he I don't know if he's a pass rusher type. Is he Bjorn Warner? I don't know. Then we're not going to know until we get some real good play across the entire defensive line. Let me see Josh Griffiths get some one-on-ones against some of the tackles, and then I'll go to Bjorn Warner. I know Odell compared him to Bjorn Warner, but I like Griffiths a lot. Hopefully, he continues to develop. And then Tyler brings out another good point. You're helping teams to game plan for Marv when you're running a 3-man front. Exactly. Like, I cannot understand how that made any sense to run a 3-man front. But it is what it is. Wilson needs help. Corbin may still not have complete confidence in that hammy. That may be a case. I literally looked at the whole defense was in the secondary. Y'all ran a 3-3. Yeah, that's what they were running. Yes, they ran 3-3-5 against Miami. And you can tell these kids, again, Adam Fuller comes into the season. He's a 4-2-5 guy. So we're expecting 4-2-5. Not only do you not play the 4-2-5, you play the 4-3-5, and you're playing your whole entire secondary. Not one guy is in press man coverage. The entire secondary is at least 5 to 6 yards off of the Miami wide receivers. And this is on the third. I'm just picking this one play I remember off the top of my damn brain from that game. This was on like a 3rd and 6. FSU has a chance to get off the field. We couldn't stop them on a 3rd down one time during that game. Did pretty decent on 1st and 2nd down. On 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, whatever the case, instead of playing press man, maybe blitz, trying to create some pressure, they played off zone, and of course Miami picked up the 1st down consistently. I don't think those kids don't know how to play that way. They didn't come here to play that way. You didn't say when you got hired that you schemed the defense that way. So I don't know what in Adam Fuller's mind he thought. I don't know what made him think that a 3-man, 3-3-5. Like, what the hell did you think you were doing? Now y'all are making me rant a little bit, and that wasn't the purpose of this live stream. You can build a baseball team through JUCO, but football, yeah, there you go, Tyler. Football is completely different. It's cool to pick a guy here or there, but you need high school talent that can grow and develop. A lot of those JUCO guys you're going to get, they are what they are, and there's no development there. My dog said, I lost Andy waking up at 4 a.m. sipping tequila. My dog was traumatized. He said he didn't even sleep. Oh, man. We're hurting, Florida State. We hurting. The good thing is that I see most of these guys that pop on the screen. Yeah, and that's my point. Josh Griffiths, Travis J, Toa Feely. Most of the guys that I think anybody can sit here and say, oh, man, that guy looked pretty decent. You're talking about freshmen, sophomores, redshirt freshmen. And that's definitely positive. Very frustrating when you can't stop a team at all. And no wonder there was arguments on the sidelines. Yeah, you know how Tay knows. What's going on, Tay? Offensive play line got to be together. I agree. I know Tay's an offensive guy. And, yeah. But we got to find a quarterback. I think I don't know if do we have a guy that can even run the offense they want to run? Because I don't see it. I always say that. I forgot about Steven Dix. That's another guy. Amari Gaynor. That's another guy. Like, these guys are young. These guys are ready to play. Just go back and watch the game. And I couldn't bring myself to go back and watch the game. But there's just stuff, you know, just how my brain works. There's just certain plays that I remember off the top of my head that when I was watching it live, I was like, you know, sometimes I think they should give me a call and I could probably put together a better defensive scheme than this guy that's getting paid six figures to do, because I'm watching stuff as it happened going, this is the dumbest thing I've seen. But, you know, I only do YouTube videos and go to Iraq every now and then. Who knows? Jay pops off the screen like Hamza, man. It hurts me so bad. And at this point, Hamza, don't even come back. As much as I want to see Hamza and Travis J back there, pay attention. That's some good stuff. Hamza and Travis J could have been a scary combo. And at this point, Hamza, go get healthy and go make that money in the league, because I don't even want you to come back and ruin your draft stock in this, because they probably won't even play Hamza Nasruddin in the right way. Hamza, just opt out, bro. Hamza's probably one of my favorite players on that defense. Just go opt out. I'll tell what, PCN, if we struggle against Jacksonville State, my panic button is going off. Whew, don't even talk about that. Gant 44 needs to see the field more. I think, this is me, and I don't know if you agree, Gino, or anybody else. I think they should consider moving Gant to like linebacker. Gant's a big hitter, another Polk County native. Shout out to Gant out of Kathleen High School. Gant's a big hitter with some. He would bring some speed and some nastiness to that linebacking core. Floated with Raymond Woody, like guys we're not even seeing. Cyrus Fagan, Raymond Woody. I think Gant, out of all those safety, fits the linebacker mold maybe the best. I would consider moving Gant to linebacker. That's just me. And I don't know if anybody else agrees with that, but I do think Gant needs to see the field more, but maybe at linebacker. I think he'll just bring that edge and that nastiness. Hold on, folks. I hope Jennings come next year. He tackles like a heat sick himself. I have full confidence that Godzilla will be in this class. Philip says, "Wow." I don't know if he's saying wow. Which one of my takes are you saying wow to, Philip? About Hamza opting out? I mean, what's the point of bringing them in at this point? Does anybody have any confidence that they're going to use Hamza Nasruddin in the correct way? I mean, I don't know, man. It's just me. I'm not trying to be completely negative, but damn. I don't want to see Hamza Nasruddin. I'm already seeing Marvin Wilson stock plummet. I'm already seeing Tamarion Terry's stock plummet. Do I want to see Hamza Nasruddin stock plummet? I don't think so. Gino says he's with that. I mean, that's me. I would like to see Gant maybe at that linebacker spot. I think he'd add some speed and some big hit stuff. You know what I'm saying? I thought I saw Sheffield was on the depth chart. I think he was, because we talked about it. Here, so I'll go back to the depth chart here. I'll go back to it. One of the biggest changes to the depth chart wasn't so much personnel, but more so positions. So what we used to have would be quarterback, running back, and then 3 wide receivers. Now it's 2 wide receivers, running back, and tailback, and they got Sheffield as the backup to Corbin, which I honestly, man, I think these two positions, they're going to be interchangeable. I would like to see Sheffield, don't get me wrong. I think you're mainly going to see Toafili, Corbin, and Webb. And they're going to kind of rotate those three. But yes, you do see Sheffield right here as the number 2 running back. With the running back and the tailback, I think you're doing more, more dynamic backfield type deals. You're going to have splitting one of these, probably the tailback. I would assume you're going to be splitting the tailback out wide to more a receiver, H-back type of deal. That's what I think you're going to see there. So, yeah. Who is texting me? Gain is another Amari Gainer. I think so. I think Gant could be another. Gant at linebacker. You heard it here first, man. I like Gant at linebacker. Tyler, I agree about you. Brandon Jennings with FSU game unit game. He was with FAM. Yeah, I know his brother plays linebacker for y'all, but he's going to follow his father's footsteps and not his brother's. So, enough about that. Well, that tells you all you need to know. I'm pretty sure young Godzilla come in and can change the whole mentality of a defense. You need guys like that. I'm pretty sure the fam said that. Hell, I saw that. And I'm not in the stands. But the Florida State fans in my house were more upset than the kids looked. So no breaking news there. Pope says there's no true leader since 2016. That stud D-line is playing in Denver. DeMarcus Walker and company, yeah. So Sheffield has a chance. So there is, we talked about Sheffield. You saw how the tailback, running back, they're doing something a little bit different offensively there. 2 wide receivers instead of the 3 receiver sets. So we'll see. They're changing some things around on offense. They're changing some things around on offense, and now we just need to get the right personnel in the right spots. Defensively, I don't even know what that means. There's some guys I want to see, guys I don't want to see no more. But what else we got? I think we pretty much covered a lot today, folks. Everybody got their frustrations out, but we got a lot today. I know y'all will try to flip him, of course. You'd be dumb not to. You'd be dumb not to. But he's coming to Florida State. He has no choice but to be a day 1 starter. Who else we got? I put him in that middle linebacker position. I know they got him listed as an outside. And, is he as rangy to be an outside? I tend to believe, honestly, that he will develop into a pass rushing end. The kid's 6'4", 225 right now. He's probably going to get up to about 250, if not bigger. You use that kid as a DN. I think Godzilla's going to be able to play any position in that linebacker/end spot that he wants to, if he wants to play it. That's for sure. I think the play calling has been vanilla. Well, offensively, obviously. Offensively, I don't think they have any trust in anybody to execute what they really want to do offensively. So, yeah, I'm with that. I agree with that. Woody Wood. Shout out to Woody Wood. I don't know if Woody Wood's still in the chat or whoever is Woody Wood. Just let me know who you are. Shout out to Woody Wood. $10 Cash App donation, man. I appreciate the love. Shout out to Woody Wood. He says, let me read his messages. He left me a message. Let me read it. For repping for the 863 as me in the service. All right, Woody Wood, thank you for all of that, bro. Chubby or Tate starting the Jacksonville game? I want to see one or the other. I'm going to be disappointed. I'm expecting it, but I'm going to be disappointed if I see Blackman. If I see Blackman game one, I'm going to be disappointed. Not even going to lie. My bad, got text messages. There are so many plays that Memphis ran that we just aren't seeing. And I believe that's mostly because Memphis just had the personnel and they knew what they were doing over there. Norvell won't make it to the end of the season. Next coach, Tallahassee's own Andrew Gilliam. You're funny. Good defense starts with offense staying on the field for more than 10% of the game. Good point, Chris. Everybody wants to bash this. Everybody wants to bash this this defense, and they deserve some bashing. But when your offense is as inept as ours has been, how's the defense supposed to, everything's going to start up here, and it's all just going from here to the play. Just bad. It's just a bad deal all around. Fidomi is balling out in my area. That tight end could start and make an impact for this team. All right, pay attention to Mr. Woody Wood, man. I appreciate the Cash App donation. I really do, man. Shout out to them Polk County natives. Norvell already said Blackman is going to start. Yeah, and I think he's going to start. I expect him to start. It's disappointing because I don't understand the reasoning behind it. I don't understand. I mean, you played Tate Rodemaker at the end of the game. We saw that he did some things good that I think that a lot of us was like, okay, we can build on some of this stuff. Why not? Why not let that brother get out there and continue to do what he, continue to learn and take your lumps? At this point, what are you hurting by taking your lumps with Tate Rodemaker? Nothing. Don't understand it, man. I don't understand it. But I've been going on for 10 hours, folks. 10 hours, 2 hours. This was a good episode here. This is my first Tuesday night show on my own, so expect to see this going forward. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the show. Destro County. All right, appreciate that. That's where you're from. DeSoto. I said Destro. See, that's how you know I done been on here looking at this screen too long. I can't even read no more. DeSoto in the house. We got Kusami Hayes. Just send me some. Again, appreciate everybody who's giving me love and showing support to the channel. I always gonna shout you guys out. You can always put a little message on it and let me know. Sherrod said he's giving me for the no relief fund. I appreciate that, Sherrod. So shout out to Sherrod and shout out to Jesse Lee with the $10 donations, man. Both guys gave me the $10 donations. I appreciate it. Be easy, Phil. Black's done, Todd. Black's done. But again, this was another great episode. My first Tuesday night on my own. So look forward to more of these. Kusami Sherrod. So again, shout out to Sherrod. Shout out to everybody in the chat for coming in here, man, and showing love. Shout out to Kenny. Shout out to Tyler. Tyler's one of my biggest supporters. He's been with me since day one, I feel like. So shout out to Tyler. Shout out to FSU Rose, always showing the love. Shout out to everybody. It's your boy, Polk County Noel, man. And as always, stay classy, Seminoles. I'm about to get out here and do some things in the world. And I'm out here, guys. Me too, man. Me too. Appreciate the love, everybody. I'm out.